Hello, peace seekers. This is Soneakqua White popping in to give you a piece of my mind that will hopefully give you some peace of mind. Today, I want to talk with you about 5 of the top reasons why you're not healing. Okay? And number 1 is that your reason is actually an excuse. You're looking at it as a reason for why you're doing something or not doing something. And what it really is an excuse as to why you're doing or not doing that thing. So the first thing I want you to think about is realizing and acknowledging that you actually are making excuses, even if the reason that you're doing or not doing something is valid. You may be in a certain situation that you don't feel like you can get out of. You may be something going on in your body where you need to take care of that first. And those are valid reasons why you're not doing your mental health work, but they are also considered excuses because you could get your physical health in together at the same time you're doing your mental health work. So really, your medical condition is also being used as an excuse, even though it's a valid reason. The situation that you're in, you may be consumed with whatever that is. And although it is a valid reason, it is also an excuse. So do not allow yourself to keep using your reasons as excuses, because you will always validate that. You will say that that's the reason why you can't do something or you're not able to do something. So in your mind, acknowledge that even though it may be a valid reason why you're doing or not doing something, do not allow yourself to keep using that as an excuse, and understand that that's really what it is an excuse. Okay? Number 2, one of the top reasons why you're not healing is because you're still immersed in the situation that you need to heal from. And probably the easiest way I can describe that to you is maybe a job or a family situation or maybe a domestic violence situation. You are still immersed in the situation that is causing you trauma that you need to heal from. So the first thing you have to do, even though that is a valid reason, yes, it is also an excuse. You have to figure out how to get yourself out of the situation that you're immersed in so that you can heal. There is always a way out. It may take some time, it may take some planning, it may take some strategy, it may take you getting other people involved, whether that's law enforcement, family, friends, the church, whoever you need to get involved to get you out of the situation that you're immersed in as to the reason why you are not healing. That is the first thing you want to do. Figure out a way to get out of the situation that you're immersed in, because although it is a valid reason, you are prone now to using it as an excuse as to why you're not able to heal. So do not allow yourself to stay in that situation, and do not allow yourself to use it as an excuse. Use it as a catalyst. You need to heal, so therefore you need to get out of that situation so that you can. Okay, number 3 is going to be, and unfortunately I have a lot of people that say this, that they're waiting on someone to die before they feel like they can heal. It's typically a family member, usually a parent, a mom or a dad. The reason why you're not healing is because you're waiting on someone to die in order to work through your stuff. You're so afraid of hurting their feelings or believing that they won't understand, or whatever your reason is that you're waiting on that person to die in order for you to heal. It is keeping you from healing. And again, it may be a valid reason. Maybe you don't want to hurt that person, but think about it this way. Have you not been hurting for years? Is that person really that important in your life that they care about your feelings and how you're doing? Even if it is a parent, are they more involved with themselves, or are they not even paying attention? Do they not even realize how badly you're hurting? So Stop waiting on someone to die before you heal, because some of the stuff that you're dealing with is going to take you to the grave. They may outlive you because you're hurting so badly, and every day you're likely being re-traumatized, or damage is piling on. You're doing more damage to yourself than likely you would if you just went ahead and healed. So I want you to consider not letting someone else dictate when you heal, and especially if you're waiting on a person to die, because the stuff you're carrying might take you to the grave before they go. Okay? So number 4 is you're not fully committed. So one of the top reasons why you're not healing is because you're not fully committed to your healing process. And I'll be honest with you, healing is hard. When you physically heal, say you, for instance, you cut yourself, typically a cut, if it's small enough, will heal on its own. And that's what a lot of people are thinking about emotional and mental healing. But it's different. It's very different. Mental and emotional damage does not heal on its own over time. You simply get older, you simply move out of the situation, you move on, but it doesn't heal. You have to heal intentionally, and you have to be committed to the healing process, and it is difficult. Will not tell you a lie. The healing process emotionally and mentally is difficult, especially if you don't have faith, or you don't have an anchor. You don't have something to look forward to, something that's pulling you through. You're not using your coping strategies, and you're not using your gifts to help you through the healing process. If you're not doing any of that, yes, it's difficult. And it is not the same as physical healing. Most people are more willing to go to the doctor or specialist or whoever they need to see for physical healing. If it's a medical condition, or if it's a broken arm or broken leg, you have to go to the doctor for that, hopefully. But for the majority of the people that I work with and come into contact with, it's much more difficult to see that there is a need for emotional or mental healing, and it's much more difficult to get to, because typically there's years of trauma or damage piled on top of itself. So you have to work through all of those things. And so the reason why you're not healing is also an excuse, but you're not fully committed to the healing process. So get yourself committed. Decide in your mind, set your mind to going through the process, no matter how difficult, no matter how long it takes. Commit yourself to healing. Okay? And number 5, it's not that big of a deal. At least that's what you're saying to yourself. It's not that big of a deal. I'm okay. It'll pass. Whatever reason, excuse you're giving yourself, you're saying it's not that big of a deal, so you're not really intentionally going toward the healing process. And I'll tell you about one of my guilty pleasures. It's watching My 600-Pound Life. And it never fails that when they hit a place where they're over 600 pounds, many of them, and the doctor says to them, I need you to go to therapy. Most of them are super resistant to therapy, saying that they don't think they need that. And I'll tell you something, if you're over 600 pounds, there is something psychologically going on with you. You haven't connected it, but I can almost guarantee that if you weigh that much, there is something going on psychologically with you. Your relationship to food, yes, you may love food. I love food, but I'm nowhere near 600 pounds because I love food. So that's not the reason. That's an excuse. You have to think that if you're in trouble, if you're having anxiety or panic attacks, if you're depressed to the point where you don't want to do anything, life is gray, you don't see color, there's no enjoyment in your life, you're uninterested in things, or you're being re-traumatized, everything is a big deal. if that is your case. You can no longer say, it's not a big deal, it'll pass, I'll be okay. You won't. You might semi-function. You might function in a dysfunctional way. You may not die. You may be able to keep going, but it's not going to heal itself. And it is a big deal. If you want to live the best life you can't do that mentally and emotionally struggling. You can't carry anxiety or severe anxiety. We all might live with some, just because of the world we live in. We live in an anxiety evoking culture and world. So there will be some anxiety, but if it's so heavy that you fear the future, that you don't want to get out of bed, that you're afraid of everything, you don't want to live your life like that. And it is a big deal. So don't allow yourself to think that it's not a big deal, that it'll pass, it'll be okay, because it won't. So remember those top 5 reasons. You think of them as reasons, and even if they're valid, and I'm not saying they're not valid, but they are excuses. They're valid and they're excuses. So if you want to heal, if you want to get out of the stuck place in your healing process, if you want to get out of the place of being stalled out in your healing process, think about if any of those 5 reasons pertain to you. If you're in any one of those positions, call attention to it. Call yourself out. Get help so that you realize, hey, someone is with me. Acknowledge what you're going through. I hope this video has been helpful. If it is, give it a thumbs up. I'd like to hear from you if you'd like to comment. I'll be back soon with more. Until then, be proactive about your mental health. Be well, and God bless.